The SEAL team was pinned down in a valley where the desert floor turned into a killing ground. Dust hung in the air, the staccato rattle of enemy fire echoing off the canyon walls, and every second felt like the last. They had called for air, support, but none had answered. The radio crackled with static, drowning hope with silence, until a calm, steady voice broke through. It was a woman's voice, and she was already inbound. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The SEALs exchanged uncertain looks. They'd heard stories of pilots who never made it in time, of rescue that arrived only after the silence of loss. But there was something about her voice, unwavering and composed, that cut through the chaos. Even as tracer rounds lit the night sky, the team found themselves believing her. Above them, the sky rumbled with the unmistakable thunder of rotors. Dust whipped through the valley, stinging eyes and cutting breaths short. The Apache helicopter emerged like a predator from the clouds, its silhouette blotting out the stars. Inside, Captain Elena Ramirez's hands gripped the controls with precision, born from years of training and scars earned from battles past. Her jaw was set, but her heart pounded. These men on the ground weren't just coordinates. They were lives, and she would not fail them. The enemy fire shifted upward, tracers streaking like angry comets toward her machine. Elena exhaled slowly, steadying her breath. She knew hesitation was death, but so was reckless pride. She needed to be perfect, and she needed to be fast. Down below, the SEAL team huddled tighter behind shattered rocks. They watched in awe as the Apache dipped low, its engines roaring like a storm let loose. The moment stretched thin. Then, without warning, the darkness lit up. 8 targets in 30 seconds. Missiles hissed and found their mark. Chain guns thundered in short, brutal bursts. The valley erupted in flames and concussions so violent, the ground trembled beneath the SEALs' boots. Dust surged like a wave, swallowing everything in a choking haze. Yet, through the chaos, every strike was precise, every explosion measured. Elena wasn't destroying the valley, she was carving out survival. The men on the ground could do nothing but watch, their fear replaced by awe. One whispered, "She's not flying. She's painting." Another, voice trembling, muttered, "That's not air support, that's salvation." For Elena, the 30 seconds felt both endless and instantaneous. When the smoke cleared, silence returned, broken only by the fading echo of her rotors. The enemy was gone. The SEALs were alive, and all that remained was the sound of men who had been given back the gift of time. But victory carried weight. As Elena steadied her helicopter in a slow hover, she thought of the targets she had eliminated. 8 lives extinguished in less than a minute. Necessary, tactical, but still human. She whispered a quiet prayer into the roar of the rotors, one the SEALs below would never hear. Then came the applause, not from an audience, but from hardened warriors who rarely clapped for anything. Their rifles tapped against their armor, their voices rose in hoarse shouts of gratitude. And for a brief moment, the valley that had been a tomb became a cathedral of survival. Because sometimes, heroism doesn't arrive with speeches or medals. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a woman in the sky, carrying the weight of life and death in her steady hands. Because courage doesn't hesitate. It acts, it saves, and it inspires. And as the SEAL team looked up at the Apache fading into the horizon, they knew they'd carry the sound of those 30 seconds forever. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. The woman, who had been just a voice on the radio, became something more that night. A reminder that sometimes the quietest strength is the one that roars the loudest. If you felt the power of this story, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us what courage truly looks like.